I'm just a little
remove all
different.
this stuff because I don't need all this for simple brilliance. It's kind of a basic, easy learning facet. I don't think I've got a phone call from anybody that's actually used the one I try to suggest. Anyway, the next one we'll set up for, it has to be low. Somewhere, this is going to be 42 degrees. So it'll be in this area somewhere. If you just get used to the fact that you're going to have to adjust this, and then your angle, fine adjust, and then in and out to get your height. Maybe. Sometimes you luck out and get pretty close, and then you can just shim it. But let's just do it. Okay, now I'm going to zero this. At this point, I can't just, I have the magnets now. Turn it. There we go, we zeroed it. Now let's get to 42 degrees. Notice how I hold this. Got my hand on here, keep that flat. Just kind of loosely hold it. And I'm going to go, I want to have to drop down a little bit. So I'm going to be above 42 degrees. And that's kind of a trial and error. So I'm going to loosen this, go down a little bit. How about that? That fell right on. Once I tighten it, it should go right back. 42 degrees. Okay. Now, here's what I was talking about. We're off the surface quite a bit. Notice I always, to back up a little bit, notice whenever I calibrate this, I turn it this way. That's because I'm right-handed and I turn the whole device around, and that makes the numbers upright. I suspect if I was left-handed and did it all backwards, I'd want to turn this the other way, but I've actually never even done that. Okay, so we need to move this closer to our cutter. Now this is going to have to be a rough cut. You would use a 250. We got to remove a lot of material. You know what? I'm going to just pick out one of these things just to show you that it works. And I'm still not touching that, and that's pretty thick. But we'll go ahead and do our height adjustment. Once again, height adjustment. You either move your lap up and down using shims, or you can move this in and out, which doesn't change the angle, it just moves the stone lower, actually. So, we've already got facets on this, so now we can't just loosen up the index and move it. So we need to hold that stone relative. We know what index number we're on, and I happen to be on 31, so I have to remember that. But now I can just loosen this. Since I have to go down, I can support it. I always support it. I hate to see things move. And push it in. We haven't lost, you know, these facets relative to this index, but we're getting lower. Now this is actually kind of a large cut. I mean, we have to remove quite a bit of material here. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of guesstimate there. It looked good. I was on 31. So now I'm going to loosen this index back up. See the gap I have? Be sure that's tight. I don't want it to move. And I'm going to put it back on 31, flush up against the head. Of course, this is one point in this whole process. You know, you could actually cause yourself some grief if you messed up this, but you get used to it and it goes pretty easy. Now I'm going to go ahead and remove dot guide lock. Things tight. I might as well replace this. A little bit of tension. Once again, I'm just showing you that imagination's. I'm going to go about halfway down the stone, and we'll see what happens here. I just want to show you this works. They're pretty aggressive. Once again, the 250 you get with your kit is pretty aggressive until it gets used a little bit, and then it's more usable. Actually, aggressive's a little tough on your rough sometimes. Of course, you know I'm going to cut some of these facets off and jump to the end here pretty quick. Taking a pretty good bite out of that. I'm actually just about to the point where I'm going to have a nice meat point, but I had to remove a lot of material off this one anyhow. This is going to cause me to have another adjustment since this is so thick compared to my copper laps, but I don't care. Oops. Just about there now. It's a pretty big facet. A lot of material I'm removing. It'll speed up as I go. Alright, that's good enough. It's a rough cut. You can see it's really bit into it. In fact, I'll zoom in on that. Anyway, it looks pretty good. Let me go all the way around with this lap here and then I'll readjust onto the copper and then we're home free. Notice I haven't looked at my directions too much. Done too many of these things.